This never gets old.
Never.
Never, ever, ever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode 8 of the Skye and Skye podcast. I am one of the co-hosts, Skye Riley, and I am joined by the always lovely Skye McMillan.
Hey guys, super excited for this episode. He is the voice of the Lobos for the University of New Mexico, was the director of broadcasting for the Albuquerque Isotopes, has also been a broadcaster for the New Mexico Thunderbirds, was the broadcaster for the Indianapolis Indians, director of broadcasting and sales for the Huntsville Stars, and was the director of broadcasting and media relations for the Kinston Indians.
He's been all over the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Robert Portnoy. Robert, thank you so much for coming in. Do you have a favorite professional sports team?
So I love all the sports, basically, and I've got favorites in all of them. I don't know why it's this way, but I think if you had to pin me down for one team in any sport, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Black and yellow.
You teed that one up for me, didn't you, bro?
Rob, come on
You knew what he
with
was
it.
doing when he was
Come
asking
on
that
with it.
question.
Man, the black and gold, it never gets old.
Oh,
Man, I
never.
just came up with that.
So I love that. I got a story for you. Had never seen the Steelers play in person in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'd seen them play other places. Even saw them in a Super Bowl back in the day in Tempe, Arizona at Sun Devil Stadium. I was at Super Bowl 30.
Ooh.
The wrong team won that day.
Yeah, the
I'm
Cowboys,
thinking that
yeah.
maybe you might be a Cowboys girl. Am I right about that?
Cowboys? I do like the Cowboys. Nothing
Okay.
against them. I'm just from Phoenix.
Oh, well,
so that's why.
even very good. So you know the whole area really well.
Yes.
Okay. So the Cowboys beat them that day, and that crushed me. But yeah, Neil O'Donnell, the big interception,
Yeah.
Larry Brown.
It still crushes me, and I wasn't even alive.
Oh, God.
You know?
But all that said, I'd never seen them in Pittsburgh. Got a chance to do that for the first time and just geeked out. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And they've got this Hall of Honor there at Acrisure.
Mhm.
I literally spent 3 hours in there. Shout out to my youngest daughter, Alyssa. She hung out with me and just totally dove in. She asked all kinds of questions, and she was just completely dialed in the next day when we watched the game. They beat the Ravens. It was the best.
Man, I've been trying to get to Acrisure Stadium
So cool. You gotta go
before
inside.
when it was Heinz Field, but even now when it's Acrisure, I've been trying to get up there, like
Such a cool
checking the
experience.
flights. I know the last home game is December 23rd against the Bengals, and I'm like kind of eyeing that. I wanted to do a whole trip and go to Canada and drive up, but then I'm like, I'm not 25 yet, so I'm gonna have to pay taxes on, car insurance for rent-a-cars and things like that. So I think now I might go to Seattle because they play them. That's our last game of the season. They play them in Seattle, and that way I could also see my boy JR, ball out. But man, I've been trying to get to a Pittsburgh game for so long.
I love that you're a Steelers boy, man. That is so good.
Man.
Yes, we have lots of things to commiserate on.
Yeah.
Cy and I do. Yeah.
That's awesome. I have to ask, college sports or professional sports?
Oh, don't make me pick. I am such a sports honk. Completely acknowledge that. My love of college football goes back to when I was really little, and I'm dating myself now, but the historic USC Trojan teams
Yep.
back in the day, and players like Ricky Bell and Charles White. Those teams back then, when they were tailback U, and that's kind of when I fell in love with college football. But yeah, don't make me choose. That's not fair.
Okay.
If I wasn't a Lobo, I'm a Trojan at heart.
Gosh, I have to readily admit that it was something that I was not popular for among my friends in college because the Trojans were a hated rival. And so the fact that I harbored this latent love for USC was problematic. I didn't discuss it much.
Well, let's talk about it. Where did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to Stanford, and the rivalry just grew and grew. Like it was big the whole way through. I mean, but then Harbaugh arrives, and then he's followed, closely by this incredible run under Coach Shaw, and like the success that the program had was almost unprecedented, like going back to the 70s when they had won Rose Bowls. Plunkett was the quarterback back then. But yeah, I mean, as just a total fanboy, I watched them play in 4 or 5 New Year's Day bowl games there over a span of a decade. Orange Bowl win over Virginia Tech, and saw them both win and lose a Rose Bowl against Wisconsin. Beat Iowa in a Rose Bowl, lost to Michigan State in a Rose Bowl. It was a fun the last second loss to Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. So an amazing run, and that rivalry grew even more, obviously, because the Trojans are always at the top of the Pac-12. As I think about the Pac-12 being no more, it just makes me cry. So.
When you were at Stanford, what did you study, and how did you know you wanted to go into broadcasting?
So I know you guys are studying the same things right now, and it's awesome that you're sitting here and that your love of this profession is what it is, and that the idea that you might want to do this in the future is there, because that's me. I'm looking at me. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking at myself. It's so cool. It's exactly what I knew I wanted to do all along. Like, I think like most of us who were into sports as kids and played, we all wanted to be athletes, right? In some way, shape, or form for as long as we possibly could. And I knew that when that ran out, whenever that was, that I wanted to be in sports. Yeah. And so the broadcasting thing just grabbed me when I was a kid. Now, I also love to write too. So, and I encourage you both, like, even if this is what you want to do, is like you want to be on mic or on camera or whatever that is, but always work on your writing skills, because it will help you so much. You're going to be generating scripts, and reading and writing are going to help you with the way that you communicate and the way that you speak and those kinds of things. So those are skills that if you develop, they will help you on air down the road. And for a long time, I was like toggling back and forth. Do I want to get into writing or do I want to get in? And it was the idea of being at the live event and being in the moment and involved in it that was most exciting. Like sitting and watching it and writing about it in real time, yeah, that's interesting. But being on air and conveying what I'm seeing on the field and hopefully in some way entertaining in the process, that ended up being the thing that I loved. And I've been doing it since I was a little kid. I used to shut down the sound on the TV and an old school tape recorder, and record things, and those tapes will never get out.
Yeah. I'm sure they don't even make tape players anymore, so you're
I'm safe.
Yeah.
Just make sure none of it gets digitized.
What are some tips that you have for students like me and Skye? Because I want to do sideline reporting, so I want to be like in front of the camera, interviewing the players after the game. Like, what do you have tips-wise for that?
Rep it out. I mean, how do you get stronger in the gym? It's those reps.
Yeah.
You need reps. That, like, I wanted to be a play-by-play broadcaster, and when I was sitting down in front of that tape recorder, those were reps. Like, literally pretend whatever you need to do. You've got a phone now that you can set up on a tripod and record yourself. Rep it out. Even if it's not going to air anywhere, and then watch it and cry about it a little bit, but then compare it to the people that you admire, like your favorite sideline people right now, and the ones that you think are doing a great job or have the job that you want, and put them side by side, and what are they doing? And imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Can you give us a timeline of how you got to where you are today in terms of pit stops, places that necessarily didn't work out too much, and then, places that it just flourished, everything just worked?
Yeah. I think the most important message there is the roadblocks. Do not be discouraged. Just keep banging on doors and keep fighting and be willing to take chances and pick up and move, and be willing to go anywhere to chase your dream. I moved 4 times in 6 years and saw a lot of places that I'd never seen before. I can remember arriving in Kinston, North Carolina, never having been in the South before in my life. And then I was in Huntsville, Alabama, and then I was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and now here I am in Albuquerque, and it all started in California. And so, like, you have to have a willingness to do whatever it takes. And as long as you have the passion, that's not going to be hard. Yeah.
I think that's super important. After I graduate in the spring. I'm willing to go anywhere. I would love to go to Texas after I graduate, but I am willing to go to everywhere. just to get that experience. And I think it's super important. So I really like that. What makes your job so special to you, and what's one of your favorite parts?
Oh man, there's so many things that I love about my job. The best part is this. Literally, the best part is this. Like the conversation that I had with Skye before we ever turn on the microphones is why I love my job. It's getting to know young people like you guys and getting to connect with you. If in some way I help you along the way, that's awesome. But it's the friendships, it's the relationships, and it's the athletes, it's the coaching staffs, it's the colleagues that I work with. Those are the things that I'll cherish forever, and it's just a great industry and a great field, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, it's always been great to have Rob. You know, when I first came here, I was like, oh, I don't know who Robert Portnoy is, because they'd be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is what Rob does. And I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily know who that is. But over time, you've been such a great inspiration and important figure, not only for myself, but for the whole team and the Lobo community. You know, we appreciate all the work that you've done. This is my second time interviewing you because
Yes.
we had a interview assignment back in the spring for one of my classes. And you know, even reaching out to you was a little like, you know, like embarrassing because I was like, this is Rob, you know, like he's going to see me. I'm like, snap. But no, I appreciate you, you know, coming in, not even back then, but today, and just always being a open door for anybody just to come in and talk to and just, you know, get personal with, you know.
I appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me. And I feel like it's a privilege being on with you. You have quite the guest list. When I saw that you had Brian Urlacher on, I'm like, whoa, how do you follow that? There's no way to top that.
Well, we're not done yet, Rob. I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite sport to cover for the team?
Oh,
or for the university, I should say.
So that's a setup.
Nope,
There's
nope,
no chance that I am going to pick one.
Come on.
There's literally no chance.
We all know.
I'm not going to hold it against you. Come on.
There's literally no chance, Skye. I could say football because I'm sitting in front of you. But I know that there's basketball people that are going to see it, baseball people that are going to see
Go
it.
ahead.
I'm
Go
not going to
ahead.
pick one. I literally get asked the question all the time, what's my favorite sport to cover? And just separating out the UNM football versus UNM basketball versus UNM baseball, which is what you've just done. You've put the three of them against each other. I'm not going to pick one. But I don't even like to pick a sport just in general because I've done them all over the course of my career. And I love them all. My favorite one is the one that's in season. And actually, my two favorite times of year are right now, November, when I get to do both football and basketball. It's unbelievable, right? Like my week last week. Yeah, it's just, how do you beat this if you love what you do?
Yeah.
I get on a plane, I fly with basketball to Oakland. We play a game in Moraga. We fly right back. I get a few hours of sleep, and I jump on a plane that day with you guys to go to a football game in Boise, and we do a game and we come right back. That was my week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and throw in a television show and throw in, all the other things. And this is it. Like what could possibly be better? The other favorite time of year is the spring, when basketball overlaps with baseball. And I'm doing two sports simultaneously for a couple of months, really, February and March. It's awesome. It's awesome.
What would you do if you didn't pursue commentating?
Whoa. If you're asking for sure right now, it's an easy answer. If I weren't in this profession, I would be standing side by side, if she could live with me doing it. I would stand side by side with my wife working at our business, because it would be slam dunk. That's absolutely what I would be doing. Because it's just been amazing to watch her, Tammy, my wife, build Cool Springs, our trampoline park, starting in a smaller facility that we leased. She built out a trampoline park that she designed herself in that location, right off of I-25 near American Home Furniture. We were in that location for 5 years. When the lease was up, she had done such a good job with that park that we were in a position to build our own place. And so she did that. Like, she found a piece of land, she designed the building, She built out the park inside it, and we own the whole thing from top to bottom. It's scary as heck, but it's awesome too. And I mean, and that's probably what I'll retire into. Like when I leave this profession, whatever it is she's got going on, because I know she's never going to slow down, is I'll just dive in and help her in any way I can. So that would be it easily.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check that out after I come back from break. I will bring a couple of my teammates there too.
Awesome.
Shoot,
Love that.
I might go next week. You know, I've already been before, but man, like I was just telling Rob before we started, I still wear the socks from time to time.
Coach House brought his group during your team building, 1 year during
That's
camp.
when I went. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Chicken tenders.
Good times.
The laser tag.
Yeah. You guys are fantastic in the laser. Right. The battle beam. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The battle beam. Yep. There's also a basketball dunk too.
Yeah.
And we've got the big airbags you can jump into. Anybody who likes to do that kind of stuff, it's a great place to practice. And then the ninja course will absolutely kick your butt.
Okay.
It will kick your butt.
I don't think I did too good.
I always look at, the show Wipeout. I'm always like, I watch that show and I'm like, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
I know I can't, but I think I could do that if I really put my mind to it.
I don't know if I would be able to take the humiliation when I'm running through it and I'm trying to jump on the big old bouncy balls and I smack my face and right into the water over and over and over again. I don't know if I would be able to do it, Skye.
That's
okay.
above
That's okay.
my pay grade. The balance and the strength required in a lot of the stuff is crazy.
What is the most significant moment in your career?
I could go a couple ways with that. For my career, the first season as a professional broadcaster and finding out if this was something I really wanted to do, like actually doing it and getting paid to do it and being fully immersed in it and learning the ins and outs of it and really running my own show from top to bottom. Like literally, I was setting up my own equipment and it's all on me to get everything done and on the air and coming out the other side of it and like still loving it. Okay. And this is exactly what I want to do. I knew immediately after that, okay, we packed up and invested everything into this and here it is. And yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to do. So that was massive. But the most impactful season, there's no question. Being a part of the 2013-2014 Lobo basketball season and seeing the way this community goes crazy when that program is that good was unbelievable. And I will never forget experiencing 10,000 plus Lobo fans pouring out of the seats at the Thomas and Mack Center.
Thomas and Mack.
And literally covering the hardwood from end to end while the Lobos cut down the nets after winning the tournament championship that year. And it's like, that's why you do this. Like, that's why you're in this, to experience those moments with the people that you're, working with day in and day out over the course of a school year. So it was awesome.
What was it like this past season for men's basketball last year with all the fans, the sellout crowds?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Night after night. I remember I'm watching the basketball game on CBS Sports at home, and I'm just like, man, it is rocking. And I could just feel it through the TV. What is it like to be there in person and be calling the games?
I am just so glad that you guys got to experience that.
Yeah.
To be students now, and I think of there was probably a little window of students at UNM who came in as undergrads, finished in 4 years, and unfortunately never got to see it quite like that because there's been that little gap, right? But to see it back like that and to see you guys, your response to it tells me all I need to know about how amazing it is. You know what I mean? To be able to be a part of that. And there's nothing like it. Like you literally feel it. Like it's not, you hear it. Of course, you can't talk to anyone because nobody can hear anything,
Yeah.
right?
It got so
Yes,
loud in
right?
there. I've never experienced anything like that.
You literally feel it, right?
Yeah.
The hair stands up on the back of your neck, the goosebumps, and then I go back and I watch the game or listen to our broadcast. I love to air check all the stuff that we do on air, and it just you get all the feels again. Yeah, it's cool. There's nothing like it. So that was what I was saying back when we started about the being in the moment at the live event and experiencing it in real time with everyone there and conveying that to the listener. That's why I love my job.
How long have you been a part of UNM athletics for?
I started back in 2013, so that was the first season that I covered Lobo men's basketball. Yes,
that's a pretty good one to start with.
It was unfortunately the end of an amazing run that the Lobos had in men's basketball for a 7-year stretch there. That was just crazy good. I've also seen the best of it in terms of football as well. Skye, the 2016 team. We're doing this podcast, and it's so cool that right before we went on the air, as we're taping this, Austin Apodaca put out a tweet. He was part of a quarterback tandem that they were amazing together. And the quarterback room that year was incredible. And it was the 2016 season. And Lobo football hadn't won a bowl game since 2007. It had been 7 years. The 4th bowl win in program history. It remains the last bowl appearance for Lobo football. The team won 9 games, won off the program record. The team shared the Mountain Division Championship in the Mountain West. Back then, there were 2 divisions. They won 7 of their last 8 games. They had a stretch from October to November where they won 5 straight. They finished 6-2 in conference. The quarterbacks, I'll mention them, Lamar Jordan, Austin Apodaca, Juwan Lawson. It was great to be a part of that, and they won the New Mexico Bowl over UTSA. So those are definitely highlights, and I'll never forget it. And that's so you asked my first year. Well, yeah, the basketball team, and then just a couple of short years later, the football team hit its most recent peak. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I remember I was scrolling on Twitter. I don't know if it was yesterday or maybe this morning, and one of the former players had posted their picture on the field at Boise after they beat them off of that crazy, stopped them like 5 yards away from held Boise out of the end zone off the freakish play that they did trying to win the game. But I saw the picture that they had posted with the teammates and Bob Davie, and you could see the Zia crest in the background with the flag, and I just thought, man, wouldn't it have been cool, to go up there to Boise? But I just feel like we're gonna get there, and we have the right people in place and the right coaches, the right mindsets to go into these football games and to pull it out, and time will tell.
I could not agree more. And if I can turn it around for just a second, you've been a part of a lot of success here on campus as well, and what that must have been like for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I came here my junior year spring, so I was able to witness it for 2.5 years, which was pretty cool. My freshman year, I was actually lucky enough to go to the Final Four my freshman year, which was one of the coolest experiences I will never, ever forget. It was so cool to be a part of that and make history for Washington State, was the school I was at previously. It was so cool. It's just, there was nothing like that, and I will never forget that.
Wow. And then to come here and get into a program here at UNM that's had an amazing run here lately as well.
Yeah, it's awesome just to be a part of such a close team. We're very lucky and special to have such a good coaching staff and just be able to be successful in soccer. So I'm very lucky and fortunate for that.
That's why I think that the football program, I think that the family atmosphere around that coaching staff and the way that it feels over there, that's something that sets the program up for long-term success.
Definitely. And all the coaches coming around every Sunday, their families are in the building, eating dinner, team dinner with us on Sunday nights. I think, when you build the aspect and you just don't see them as just your coaches, you see them as mentors, as friends. some of them father figures, and things of that nature. So when you're able to see people for outside of just their quote unquote job titles, it just builds better team chemistry, and then you have better commitment to play harder, and better drive and desire. I wanted to ask you, Rob, because you've been around the world, quite frankly, and we were talking about my guy Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen, I think. Well, I can't even say I think. I know is the best Dodger closer in my lifetime because, again, I haven't been on this earth very long, but the Dodger history is very long. But you called his career out before it even got started.
Yeah, that was one of those things, the blind squirrel theory, or the throw the spaghetti on the wall until something sticks. But he was a catcher coming up with the Dodgers, and he was at Isotopes Park playing for the Isotopes for a short time. There's like two parts to the story. We had a knuckleball pitcher at one point on the team. His name was Charlie Hager, and I'll never forget this. Charlie threw a pitch, and it was one of those deals where it's just hard to catch, right? It's just hard to catch. And so Kenley boxed it a little bit, and the ball fell out in front of the plate. And the guy who was at first base decided he was going to try to take second. And Kenley didn't even get up. He just, he's in his catcher squad. The ball bounces down in front of him. He just drops forward onto his knees. So he's kneeling on top of the plate and reaches and grabs the ball. And from his knees, lets rip this throw. And I've never seen anybody get down faster because Charlie always finished in a perfect. Throwing a knuckleball is not as violent a movement as throwing a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. So he would always end up square in a very good fielding position at the front of the mound, staring at home plate, ready, right? And that ball was going right at his forehead. Like literally it was going to hit him right between the eyes. And he went down like he had just seen a ghost and just got out of the way. And Kenley threw the guy out. Bad idea running on that guy. Yeah. And not long after that incident, actually, that moment, I mean, you could see his arm from 100 miles away. It wasn't like it wasn't there for everyone to see. And it had been talked about, but I was on a blog with someone who covered the Dodgers, someone from L.A., asking about the AAA guys, and they asked me, is there somebody on the team that you consider to be a really good Major League Baseball prospect? And I said, well, Kenley Jansen's got a closer's arm. Like he literally could be a big league closer one day. And not long after that, that blogger pulled that out of the blog and sent it to me. And he's like, look at this. Do you even remember saying this? This is after he'd already, made it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's definitely one of those, as broadcasters, it's part of our job to make observations. And sometimes we say things that are dead on. And sometimes we say things that are just like what fans are doing. They're projecting, they're speculating, they're wondering aloud as they're watching about what they see, and it helps us think about things. And you know what I mean? And so some of them are right and some of them are wrong. That one was on, and
spot on.
Yeah,
yeah, you were more than right. He could be a Hall of Famer,
no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and finally, the Hall of Fame electors are starting to put closers into the Hall of Fame the way that they should.
Yep.
Finally.
Yep.
Yeah.
How has the broadcasting perspective changed in the past 10 years?
I think what we're doing right here, right now, like this is the new world. The number of platforms that this will be available when we're done almost instantaneously has changed things completely. What you're doing, like I said earlier about reps, like anyone can jump in and get their start in this industry now with a very small budget. And I think that's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because when I wanted to get my start back in the day, it wasn't like this. Like you were scrambling for opportunities, and you guys have a chance to rep it out in so many different ways that it's amazing. And it's really awesome too. So this is how things have completely changed. This space, what you can do now with the internet and connectivity, it's remarkable. And it's so cool. So Keep it up. You guys are crushing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on our podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us. I've learned, and I'm pretty sure Skye has learned a couple of new things. So thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure, Skye. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't, tell you enough how much I appreciate you, Rob, in and off the football field, what you're doing in the community and the example that you provide to me and how I want to live my life and work through my journalism career. So I appreciate you coming on and again, just helping us out. And I thank you for everything that you've done.
Oh, Skye, it's been wonderful getting to know you, and thank you, and good luck to both of you, and know that my ear's available anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Robert Portnoy, the voice of the Lobos. Next week, we have another special guest for you all. This has been episode
8
of the Skye and Skye podcast. Thank you so much for joining and listening.